Hello, everyone. Let's start. Yeah, I'm Olga, and I'm really happy to be here today and see a lot of beautiful faces in the room. And yeah, as I said, I'm Olga. I work at Amazon AWS, and today I'm going to tell you about some tips and tricks related to Xdebug and PhpStorm. And yeah, and probably currently you're wondering why someone from Amazon AWS is going to tell me about PhpStorm, right, and Xdebug. So, and the answer is pretty simple. I just recently quitted PhpStorm team and joined Amazon, and I was working in PhpStorm team for 7 years. And during this journey, I was mostly responsible for various tools integration inside PhpStorm, starting from Xdebug, right, debuggers, test frameworks, linters, package managers, etc. And besides that, I was also responsible for deployment plugin, which is available in all our IDs and which helps our users to synchronize their data between local machine and remote server. And when I joined Amazon AWS, and it's a funny thing that I started using deployment plugin on everyday basis. So something that I developing now in use. And you know what? Now I can feel your pain. Yeah. And now the question that probably you have in mind now: what is my motivation behind this talk, actually? So why I decided to discuss Xdebug features in PhpStorm. And actually, the answer is pretty simple also. When I was working on debug feature in PhpStorm, and actually from time to time I checked feature usages inside PhpStorm, and every time it made me really sad, just because you can see it in the picture. So I think a lot of useful debugger features were not used by the majority of our users, and it's really sad because I consider them very as like a powerful instrument to find bugs, to understand and explore state of your program. So, and you may say, okay, it's a bad UX, UI here, and you're right, of course. Sometimes it's a hidden gems. So, and it's hard to find them, but also it's just a lack of knowledge, and this is why I'm here today, to share this knowledge. And probably from Monday, you'll start use it more. So, and actually before I jump to demo I prepared, let me ask you a few questions about your experience. Please raise your hand if you use PhpStorm on everyday basis. My pleasure, guys. So, and another question, questions about Xdebug. So, have you ever tried to configure and installed Xdebug? Please raise your hand. So, did you succeed first time? First time, did you succeed? Oh. Okay, and it's good. But actually, I can feel your pain. It's really hard to install everything and configure everything just to make it work. Yeah, and the last question: do you use Xdebug on everyday basis? Raise your hand. Not so many hands, right? Very sad, very sad. But probably you change your mind after this presentation. So, and let's dive to the demos. And actually, when we talk about debugger, of course, we should talk about some putting breakpoints to some lines in your code to just explore state of your program when it's suspended, right? So, and all that stuff. And also we can jump, right? We can do some steps, debugging steps. But everything that actually that's related to debugging can be done in PhpStorm. And it's just a simple demo about simple breakpoint, just to be on the same page if someone is not familiar still with Xdebug. So let's take a look. So here, actually, we have a simple program which check if some of the employees is eligible for promotion. And of course, if you use Xdebug, you know that you're in a good position here. So yeah, what you can do actually, for example, you can check some employees, and you can put breakpoint, you can start execution of your program in debug mode, and after that, when it debugger hits breakpoint, you actually can see variable view, and where at the bottom of the screen you can see a debug tool window, and you can see actually your current state. You can, after that, you can explore it, just go deeper, check something, what you want, and yeah. But also you can add some watches if you don't want to unfold some structure every time. So like here, so it's pretty simple. But besides that, you can take a look at the code editor here, and you may notice some additional information about your state, right? So we can see here person, age, start year, etc. So actually all of that is just inline watches. You can add them if you wish. It's really convenient to use, just because if you use variable view, you should jump every time here where just to check state of variable and then back to code. And for me, it's a kind of it's not that I would love to be focused on, right? So I would love to be focused on my code. I usually even close my debug tool window just to no distraction tool, so just code. Yeah, if you remember all shortcuts, you can do it. So, and also you can add inline watches just by yourself. So you can place it right here, and after that you can just watch how this value is changing over the program, right? So yeah, it's just simple example how to use Xdebug and PhpStorm, and use some watches, inline watches, etc. And actually, I like everything that is that is inlined in your code editor, because again, I don't need to have additional tool window around my code editor. I just have everything inside. And sometimes you may notice that PhpStorm helps you to understand what's going on in your program. So let's see this example. We suspend our execution on line 5, and after that we can see some gray texts here. And some of the lines of your program are grayed out, right? And actually it means really simple thing. It means that this line won't be executed. So we are not gonna jump to this line during execution. So sometimes it's really useful to understand what's going on in your program, right? How it will be executed, what is current workflow in your program. So, and if we talk about line 8, for example, you can see that the last condition in the statement is false, and this is why we are not gonna jump to this line. But we're gonna jump to line 12, and you can also see why, right? So we have a first condition of if statement, last if statement true, and it's enough to jump here. But you can see also that this condition won't be checked. So it's just a kind of small information you can keep in mind. Yeah, something useful. Yeah, conditional breakpoint. Really not big amount of users know about it or use it suddenly. Yeah, so let's see. So for instance, we have a simple program. We have a list of fruits, and we go through these fruits and check if it's not filtered, we print it out, right? So, and if we take a look to output of this program, we can see that apple and lemon was printed, but pear is not. And we want to check why. How can we do it, right? We can just put a breakpoint to the line 4 and line 4, right? And just press F8 until we reach our fruit, or fruit of our interest. But you know that here we have only 3 fruits in the list, but if we have thousands of fruit, so it's a bit kind of long story. Another thing we can do, we can change our code, just and add some additional if statement before the line 4, for example. If fruit is equal pear, we're gonna just stop here. But again, I don't like to change my code just for debugger purposes. So it's not like that you can forget about it and you can just commit it and push it, and that's not good. So another thing we can do, we can just add a conditional breakpoint. So let's see how to do it. Just put breakpoint, and after that we can add condition here. So that condition fruit is pear. It's done now. And after that we can run our program. And you can see here that we actually suspended our execution right when our condition is met, right? So the fruit is pear. So we skip everything which is not actually in our condition. So a debugger thinks that no, actually another breakpoints, or we don't need to stop execution here. So it's really useful. You can use it. So I use it probably every day. So another cool thing probably want to know about, it's exception breakpoints. So sometimes you want to actually check, suspend your execution everywhere and every time when some exception is thrown in your program. And what you can do again, some simple way, just to put breakpoints on every a statement when exception is thrown, but it's not a good way. You can also, I don't know how to say, what else? You can go to the exception constructor, right? So, and put a breakpoint there, and once it will be called, your program will be suspended. Yeah, it can be a way. But another way is just to add a global exception breakpoint. You can see here in the bottom in the debug tool window, an icon with two circles. Yeah, so it actually brings us to a dialog with all breakpoints you set up in your project, and also where you can actually add some global breakpoints. But let's see to this example first. So here we have 2 simple functions which actually throw exceptions with some probability. And after that we can see a loop when we just call these functions and wait for the exceptions. So let's try to catch where exception is thrown. So we go to this dialog, breakpoints dialog. It's right here. Just wait a bit. I'm like, oh yeah, here we are. So we can add here a PHP exception breakpoint, and I would just put break exception just for simplicity, and yeah, it's done. And after that, when we execute our program, yeah, we can see. So we suspended our execution right on line 5. So it means that exception was thrown here, and actually you can even see this icon, lightning icon, just to make sure that we stopped here because of this global exception breakpoint. So sometimes again it's a kind of useful thing, especially if you want to just check that everything is fine in your program and no errors happening. So, mute breakpoints. Again, sometimes actually you set up some breakpoints in your project, and after that you start your execution, and debugger actually started hitting with breakpoints. So it's a kind of annoying thing. And for example, you don't want to debug exactly at this point of time. So, for example, you want to first to set up environment or do something else. Or, for example, I prefer developing in that way. So my execution is always in debug mode. So, and I switch between debugging and doing something else just by every 5 minutes. So I don't want to set up breakpoints every 5 minutes, for example. What I can do, I can just mute all breakpoints for some period of time when I need to do some different work, not just debugging. So, and if I mute breakpoint, debugger won't stop execution. Debugger, it looks like debugger doesn't know about your breakpoints at all, so it's really useful. So let's take a look. So here, again, we have a really simple program. I set up 3 breakpoints, and after that, I am gonna call mute breakpoints. It's a kind of another icon with circle, red circle, in the debug tool window, and I call this section mute breakpoints, and let's start execution. And here we are. Here, our execution wasn't suspended by debugger, so everything was just like we run our program not in debug mode. So just use it, very helpful. Okay, another small feature actually which appeared quite recently in Xdebug. It's about 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Return value. So, and after that it was actually added to PhpStorm. So let's take a look to this example. For example, we have a function, and on return statement you can see another call. And sometimes, again, sometimes you want to know what actually will be returned from this function, right? So and it's interesting, right? So sometimes it's helpful to understand what's going on. So, and some simple way to do it is just to introduce another variable, assign empty round to this variable, and after that put breakpoint to return, and you already have variable which has some value, and you can check this value and so on. But again, I'm against changing a code during debugging. So I would love to do the same with just debugger functionalities. How to do it? We can just put breakpoint to line 4, and once debugger hits this breakpoint, we should call step into F7. And after that, you'll see here in variable view this value, actually, empty round value. So, and exactly this value we are going to return from this function. Really small thing, but helpful. So, and when I ask you, do you use Xdebug on a daily basis? Actually, not so many hands were raised. And yeah, we should have something different, right, to be able to understand what's going on in your program. And we can use DD, var dumper approach, right? So something which logs some variable state, some program state into output, right? So, and actually you can do the same with Xdebug. So it's quite easy. Let's take a look. So, for example, we have a function which calculates a square root, and we have iterations, and we want to check that actually our guess value is convergent to a square root. But of course, if we stop execution on 5, we'll have only actually current value, and it's hard to actually to track what's going on with this variable. And to do it, we can just log. Information. So we can put a breakpoint to line 5, go to detailed properties, turn on suspend execution and actually turn on evaluate and log. And here you can place everything you want to check. In my case, it's just value of variable guess. So let's apply changes, run our code, and here we are, right? So we have this conversion states of our value function. So, and no suspension of your program, just everything you want in output. So let's go further. So do we have here console, guys? Do you like? Okay, so probably it will be helpful also. So sometimes, again, it's not very useful to add some watches by UI. So just need to call something, some dialogues, etc. Sometimes it's much easier to, much easier just to use debug console to understand what's going on in your program. So you can see here variables view, right? And nearby you can find console view. And once debugger hits a breakpoint, you can go to this console view and type where and whatever you want to check. So for example, this sum, right? So we can check it here. And also, besides that, we can change state of our program in console view. So let's see, we have a variable a, which is 4 now, and let's just change it to 1. So we can type assignment statement here, and it's 1, and you can see now where the line 4, but variable actually a became 1. So after that, you can check it, and yeah, if it's true. So whenever you want to check state of your program or change state of your program, you can use variable views. You can use also console view. Okay, another small feature, and to be honest, I did not know about this feature quite for a long period of time until I got ticket related to this feature. So, and it's funny, a lot of hidden gems. So, let's see, here we have 4 assignments and 4 breakpoints, and we go through these assignments, right? So, and in the variable view, actually you can see that one of the variables has blue color, right? So counter 1, counter 2, counter 3, yeah, and so on. So it means that this particular variable was changed during the last step of debugger step execution. So sometimes it's really helpful just because, you know, you do some call and assign return to some variable, and you can see that this variable is not changed. So it means that you probably want to check why. So what happened actually during this call. So it gives you some additional information you can use in your judgment. So yeah, sometimes you can just take a look what's going on where, which variables have actually blue color. Okay, so actually almost half of our presentation is over, and another portion of questions for you guys. So have you ever heard about Xdebug? Please raise your hand. Okay, great. And have you ever tried to use? Oh, okay, super. And did you succeed? Wow. Yeah, actually it's a really cool tool, and probably surprising thing that you can use this tool in PhpStorm as well. So, but before jumping to demo, let's discuss some basics about Xdebug, just to be on the same page again. So, for example, sometimes, yeah, actually we all have repositories, right? So at work, and a lot of people commit there and push their changes, and sometimes it may happen that state of your program changed recently. So for some reason, because of some commits, yeah. And for example, if you use continuous integration, you may find that at some point of time your test start failing, for example. And of course, your task is to find the commit and the person responsible for regression. So, and also usually we have some information about some times, right? So that time points. So for example, we know that at some point of time, the situation was green, test just passed. And at some point of time, it became red, right? So the regression is already there. And our task is just to understand when it happened. So we have actually chain of our commits, and let's try to find the commit responsible for this regression. So what we can do, we can just go and check one by one, but it could be thousands of commits, and you can spend a lot of time here. It's not very optimal. Also, in our approach, you can narrow down the scope. So, for example, you examine only commits in some particular package or class, etc. So it's kind of a little less difficult problem, but still, sometimes it's not that easy to understand actually who is the owner of this problem. So sometimes we have libraries, we have some not clear picture how one package affects another package, so it can be hard. So another thing you can do, you can apply git bisect approach. So instead of linear search, we can apply binary search to this problem. So let's take a look. So let's try to check the middle commit between stable and broken. And if the behavior is already broken there, it means that the regression may happen before this commit or just here, right, in this commit. So the only thing we need to do is just to check the left parts of our chain and just don't care about our right parts. If situation in the middle point is still green, so it means that the regression was introduced somewhere later, right? So we need to go to the right and check commit that happened actually later. So instead of linear search, we have logarithmic time complexity, so it's much better. So we don't need to check thousands of commits. So it would be tens or so instead of that. So, and it's very useful technique. So you can use git bisect tool. So I encourage you to try. So, it can save you a lot of time. And also you can actually run git bisect tool inside PhpStorm. And but I should mention here that actually it's not bundled to PhpStorm. So this commit is available in our marketplace, and if you want to run it, of course you can go to by this link, to find it by this link, and download it, install it, and after that you can use it. So this commit was written by our former team member, Artem Khvostanov, and it's really cool. Just we can see it now. So what I have here, I have simple binary search function, and of course I have a test for this function. And at some point of time, I noticed that actually our test started failing, right? You can see it here. And after that, I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna go to Git history and understand what's wrong, what happened during the last commits. So you can see here, probably you can see, I hope, everything is fine commit. So we know that it's our green revision. And actually, in the last revision, an overhead test is failing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just select all suspicious commits here, like that and that. And after that, I can call git bisect. So in our case, all default values just are fine. So we just need to press git bisect action. And actually, currently, you can see that git bisect is working. And here we are, right? So git bisect actually found the commit responsible for this bad behavior. And what we can do now, we can go and take a look what happened in this commit, show in git log. So let's go here, open div, and let's see. You can see here that instead of returning index, right, like which is required, how it's required in binary search, I started returning value. So, and this is why we actually had such issue. So let's try to fix it. So now we should go back to our master head, go back, and go to our binary search function, fix it, and let's just run our test to make sure that it's right. So yeah, now it passed, right? So it's really cool. I think it's okay, kind of automated way to find commit responsible for regression. And of course, it's really simple example here. We have only, let's say, 10 commits to check. Sometimes the situation is more difficult. It may contain again 1,000. And in this case, you should just wait. So just have a cup of coffee and wait. So it's not that you need to manually do for a long period of time. So, and after that, you have an answer. So I think, sorry. Set value. Sometimes, at least in my experience, I got a tickets where I should, to reproduce these tickets, I should have some environment, related to environment. For example, some tickets are related to Windows. I don't have Windows machine, I only have a Mac or Linux. And for me, it's a kind of nightmare to find a Windows machine, right? So, but at the same time, I need to reproduce this issue, right, somehow. And what if we can emulate our environment, right? So let's say we can somehow say, hey, our program, actually, I have a window. Just let's imagine that I have a window. Let's run and check what's going on if I have window. So how to do it? We can just change state of our program, right? So for example, we have some call is Windows. I don't remember in PHP how it's called. It is window or something, system variable. And let's say we can assign this call to some variable, and after debugger actually hit this line, we can say, okay, our variable is Windows, is true, and let's continue execute our program with this knowledge, and after that, your program will go to some path of execution, and you can, for example, reproduce this issue. Of course, you can change a few variables, not only one, just to reproduce some, just to emulate your environment required for this particular ticket. But at the same time, you don't need to ask someone else to please provide me a Windows machine. So let's take a look. So here we have, sorry, it's them about different, it's the same feature but different approach. Actually, sometimes for example, like in this example, we had some hypothesis how to fix our program, right? So we understood that we returned value instead of index. And we have a hypothesis in mind that if we change it to index, our test will be green. So it will be a correct behavior for program. And what you can do, you can actually, again, just change your code and check. But also you can just change your behavior in memory, and check your hypothesis before changing your code. So let's take a look to this example. So here we are, we have our test, which failed. And now let's go and try to change behavior of our program without changing it. So we are here. We remember, right, that we are returning value instead of index. And currently, let's run our program. Let's stop execution here, and let's go to variable view. So, and you can see here that actually our variable, right, we're returning here is just 10. It's value of our element. But we are going to return the middle point, the index, instead of that, right? So 7. And we can go to variable view and set value to variable. So let's change it from 10 to 7. And let's see. So we changed our state, go further, and now currently our test just passed. So sometimes again it's useful. There are two different things you can do with this set value functionality. So first one is just somehow change state of your program to emulate your environment. Another thing, sometimes it's real helpful when you have a few hypotheses and you want to check them. And you don't want to change your code before checking, and you go change behavior, what you expect to do, and check. So, okay, let's go further. Yeah, and we discussed it already. Not so many people use Xdebug, and they prefer using different approaches like word dumper, DD, etc. And actually, even 1 year ago, I think it was a nightmare to use DD in PhpStorm, because the output was just a plain text without any color, without links, without anything. It was like, oh my God, how should I just understand what's going on here? And actually, the team is aware of a big amount of users of word dumper and DD, and actually we were trying to improve situation. And actually during this year we changed a bit, we improved it a bit, and currently if you call, for example, dump here, you can see colored output, you can see some links, you can fold and unfold your structures. So situation became a bit better, and I hope the team will be continuing that, just making it usable. So yeah, actually that's it from my side today, and everything. So everything that I mentioned today is available in our documentation. So if you want to dive deeper to this topic, to find something useful, you can go to PhpStorm documentation. It's up to date. It's really helpful. So it's not boring. And yeah, and if you want to actually get some most fresh information about PhpStorm, current features, which are under development or recently fixed bug, you can subscribe to our blog. Sometimes it's really useful to get some information just by small pieces. You can read 5 minutes blog every week, and probably can answer your questions. So, and that's it. I hope on Monday, this Monday, we'll start from installing Xdebug, probably to try it, and to try all things I mentioned. And yeah, yeah, that's it from my side. And if you have any questions, I can answer, but I should mention that I'm not up to date, so I don't know what's happening currently in PhpStorm, so probably it's not very fresh information from my side. Thank you.
And you step up. Look, listen. And part. Don't.
No? Okay. So I have a question for the mute breakpoints. So it's like you set the you mute all breakpoints. Is it possible to put an exception for just one of the breakpoints or several, maybe even? Like
just to assign this global exception to sorry, I didn't get the question.
So you're muting the breakpoints with a small button with a dash through. And if it's possible to somehow say, okay, I don't want to have all my exceptions right now. I only want to have like one breakpoints. I don't want to have all of my breakpoints right now. I want to have one that I'm debugging.
I got the question. I know that there are some groups of breakpoints, but you can't. Even by muting breakpoint, you can't do it. So it's just all or nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just a kind of.
List of block breakpoints. You can disable single ones to get the feature. Awesome.
Yeah, it's possible just to have some groups of breakpoints, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes, sometimes I messed up with IntelliJ and PhpStorm, and sometimes I don't remember which features are available in PhpStorm and which are not. But you can try at least set up a few groups of breakpoints and try to somehow check in and check out all groups. I'm not sure if it's possible or not.
There's some kind of shortcut I can't remember. When you click on a breakpoint, it gets like only a hollow circle, and that means this one is muted. Is it control click maybe only?
Okay, yeah.
It's the same when you click it, and there's this enable checkpoint or suspend is I think it's called check.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
I use it all the time because then sometimes these breakpoints are like
really
like
noisy.
markers, and then I don't know this one. And, yeah. It's not abused. There are other things for shortcuts.
That's in.
Thanks for the thing with the exceptions. I didn't know that.
It's great. I think.
You didn't show my favorite feature. So it's the stack trace. And that was my workaround, like going to the catch of the try catch and then stepping up the call stack to where it happened.
Yeah,
Super helpful feature.
Yeah, actually, there is another feature with method breakpoints. So and debugger will stop execution if this method was called or any of children was called. So a kind of hierarchical thing, but it did not work when I checked it. So unfortunately, if you want, you can go to a tracker and just vote for this particular bug. I don't know why it happened. Yeah, but I think it could be also useful when you can catch just stop program on any child. Yeah, so
Text.
So probably no questions. Thank you.